Focused. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to day 9, I believe, of Candito's training program. I don't think it's got a formal name to it. It's basically a 6-week program. So day 9 today is a copy, I believe, of Tuesday. So if you want to see the full workout and maybe a little bit more explanation behind it, I'll go ahead and link it somewhere here. Now, with that being said, a couple of things I want to touch upon before we get to any lifts today. One, hopefully you guys checked out yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was very, very fun to make. It took quite a bit of time to edit and render and upload and all that good stuff. If you guys like that kind of stuff, let me know. I enjoy doing it. They just require a lot more time, which means I wouldn't be able to make as much. Thinking about the future when the channel, when we're done with this series as to what I want to bring in. I'll link that video in here somewhere. Oh, so updates. So what, a lot of the time, there were a lot of the reasons why I decided to do this was one, because it gives people an idea of what powerlifting programs specifically, comparison to maybe some of the bodybuilding stuff you guys have seen. But what I also wanted to do is make it a vlog for people who are maybe considering those programs so that they can follow along day to day with somebody who's done it themselves and maybe see if they experience the same thing. So updates on me and how I'm feeling, pretty good. So yesterday I mentioned I was having some issues with my lower back because of the tweak that I made in the last squat session, which I call squat hell. I'll link that in here. I need to stop saying that because I'm going to forget to link all these things. The tweak's kind of gone now. My back's feeling a lot better. In fact, it probably felt better after I squatted yesterday in that session you guys saw. Today I'm definitely sore on my glutes, hamstrings specifically. Hamstrings probably a lot more due to the deficit deadlifts that you guys did not see. I just felt like yesterday's video was just to show that one, the squat itself and the intensity of me to do over 10 sets of squats with very little rest in between. So it was just a fun project and it was a fun video. But for the most part, I'm feeling good. I'm still at a caloric deficit now. I originally talked about increasing my calories, and I will. But at days like yesterday just helped with fat loss a lot more. So I'm going to maintain where I'm at now, and in fact I'm going to start scheduling refeeds a little bit more often to help the process along a little bit. But for the most part, it's not bad. I can deal with it for the time being. That's it. I'm trying to make this a very short video, and I'll probably ranted for almost the amount of time. So let's get on to lifting cues. All right, let's go inside for this. All right, so we're gonna go inside and talk about this, but I forgot. Let's start doing core work. All right, so what are cues? So it's a word that is used often in powerlifting, as I mentioned before. The primary use of it is almost like a mental note of technique. At least that's the way I like to describe it to people. What does that mean? That means that when you're setting up, there are a number of different things that are specific to each lift that you must remember to do. Why do you have to remember to do these things? Well, because 1, they give you better leverages. 2, they probably help save some vital things like shoulders or back or whatever. They're a better position for your body mechanically. 3, I like 3, so I gotta think of a third reason. Because I'll come back to this. So, cues. So basically with the lift, there are a number of different things. For example, you saw me bench today. There's a number of different things that you saw probably that might vary from your standard like gym goers technique. You guys see that I have a small arch on my back, maybe large compared to some of you. I try to make my heels hit the floor. You see me sometimes clench and reposition my glutes closer to the bench. You see me kind of pull my shoulders back, aka scapular retraction. You pull your shoulders back so that you can tighten up the upper back and lay most of your body on that upper back region. So there's a lot of different things that you see me do. Now, in my mind, I have a certain number of cues that I'm remembering to do. Is that all of them? No. For the most part, as you're learning a technique of a lift, as you're learning a lift, what you'll end up noticing is that certain things will be very natural, certain things will be very easy for you. You won't have to remember to do certain things over others, but there are certain things that you'll forget, or there are certain things that you'll have a difficult time with because of muscle imbalances or because you're just straight up weak in those areas. And And so mental cues are there to help you remember that. And so how do they help you? Well, in the end, you should really be working on your technique every single time. I think you guys have seen me bench enough to know that for the most part, on my bench, deadlift, and squat, I have a very standard position or setup. A setup's a better word. I have a very standard setup for each of those movements. And the idea is that every single time you approach the bar, whether it's squat, deadlift, or bench press, it's the same every single time. That way, it's just ingrained. It's second nature, so that all you have to do now is focus on those cues, those little things that you're having a hard time with. For me, it's scapular retraction. I'm good, tight, the first couple of reps. If I'm going anywhere 4+, my scapular starts uncompressing, and you'll notice that sometimes my shoulders roll forward. As I'm benching, the whole idea is that your shoulders should be pinched back, giving you almost a decline bench press position. That way it's a stronger position for you to move more weight. Also allows you to compress a lot more and explode out of the bottom. So my mental cue for that is, as I get in there, I'm telling myself, get tighter, or upper back, think about your upper back, or whatever it is. And it might not just be one thing that you have an issue with. I have a number of different things, whether it's this lift or any other. So that's what mental cues are. That's what powerlifting cues are. The things that you have in the back of your mind that help you remember technique issues that you personally have. They're all very individualized, and for the most part, that's why it meets. Or when you see people doing powerlifting and there's quite a bit of people helping each other and pushing each other, you'll notice guys yell out, oh, glutes, 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 flex the glutes, or hum through the bars, I like to say. Tighten up the upper back, whatever it is. There's a lot of little cues, and those are all cues that people are yelling to them because either they're forgetting to do it or they're just pushing them through it. So once again, I'm sure this is a longer video than it needed to be, but hopefully you learned something. Yeah, see you guys next time. Do you want to get my dig cop? All right. How dare you play Taylor Swift? Fucking Pandora.